Hi, this is MIcornus Phokane, the leader and the founder of the Young Men Empowerment Forum. Remember, this is a platform where we're developing ordinary young men into extraordinary men of wisdom, integrity, and character. And we do this through kingdom principles. And we are dealing with this topic that speaks about key principles of effective leadership. Key principles of effective leadership. You want to become an effective leader? These are the principles that you need to align yourself with. And we're dealing with them. Today is part 2 of this great topic. And as I've promised that I'll deal with at least about 2 principles per day, and you'll learn out of that. And we're not going to rush it. Briefly, for a few minutes, we're going to speak about the 2 principles of today that we're going to speak about. Now, the first principle of effective leadership that we bring about today is that you must always be ready to dive in when you are needed in your team. You must always be ready to dive in and be part of your team where you're needed. And remember that your team looks up to you. And as I said, as an exemplary leader, the leader with knowledge, they look up to you. And sometimes when there are solutions needed, because there might be a situation that they need a solution out of, they're going to need you, they're going to look up to you. And therefore, be able to dive in when they need you. There are times where they will give you a call, even at awkward times, when you are actually maybe off duty. You are away sometimes. You are maybe with your own family somewhere. But they need you. And this particular time, when they need you, which won't happen every time or often, because we have said earlier that you need to employ people with great skills, people that are great, and be out of their way for them to implement. Most of the time, they will actually implement on their own, but there are times when they will need you. And when they need you, that is the time that you need to dive in and stop complaining and say, but I'm off. Stop complaining and say, but I'm on leave. Why do you call me? Stop complaining and say, but you're waking me up at night. Remember, this is not happening every day. They actually need you now. Therefore, that's the reason why they're communicating with you. Now, to young men out there that are leading companies of their own, or maybe you are just a manager or a CEO of a certain company where you are employed, when you're having a team, so please be able to dive in when they need you. Remember, they will need you, as I said, not every day, not that often sometimes, but when they need you, they need you. So you cannot allow your emotions and grumblings and complaints and to be on your way as you complain while they're needing you and you're not availing yourself. So be able to dive in when you're needed. Now, there are times when they may not call you, but you realize that they're struggling actually in finding a breakthrough. And sometimes you must wonder if they are struggling with a certain project and you could actually assist, but they don't call you into assisting. It could be that your personality is that which is not actually approachable. It might be that they are not actually open with you or you are not open with them. And we have said in the past that you need to be open and transparent. And your personality must be open and transparent so that your own team members may be able to approach you when they need you. When you see them struggling with a project, which they could actually consult from you and ask you to step in and help them, but yet they don't ask for help, it could be a dangerous sign there. It could be a red light there that they might be not bold enough to approach you for help when they need help from you. And that might be something that is actually speaking about how you approach them, how you deal with them, how you relate with them. And it's very important that as a leader, you be able to relate with people better. You be able to find yourself in a platform where you're approachable, where people are able to approach you for at any given time. When they need help, they should actually be able to say. They must raise their hand when they need help so that you can be able to dive in. And as we've mentioned earlier, that when they call you or when you realize that they need you, please dive in because you're needed and you can assist them there. And there's a difference actually between interfering and diving in when you're needed. There's actually a difference between micromanagement and also assisting people when they need you. So it is very important, and a very effective leader and a wise leader is able to also to identify when people are struggling, and they're not making progress at all, so that you can dive in and be part of a solution in that regard. Now, the second key principle that we want to speak about today, of course, is communication. And we want to say that if you are to become an effective leader, you must, number one, be able to communicate effectively. Now, what is effective communication? Effective communication, of course, one starts with clarity. Are you clear in your communication? Are your words articulated well? Are your messages clear to the people? Because there are times when you speak to people and you become ambiguous in your talk. You become ambiguous in your instructions, and sometimes you take it for granted that people understand you, and you walk away and you realize tomorrow that they didn't do exactly the way you wanted them to do. Not that they don't have skills, not that they're not able to do, not that they don't have capacity. No, it's purely maybe because of lack of clarity in your instruction. Now, as a leader, it's very important that you develop a way of communication that will be articulated more clearer to your people for them to be able to know, and also provide a platform where your people can be able to ask you if they don't understand. They can ask you if they're not clear. But when they are afraid of you, they're not going to ask even when they don't understand. And you find that, moreover, you didn't clarify or you didn't communicate clearly in that regard. And this is very important, that the clarity of your communication then becomes very, very, very serious to look at. And I want to say that the signs of lack of clarity is when people are actually doing things the opposite of what you said. Lack of clarity. The other thing could be that people are actually not asking questions. Sometimes when they don't ask questions, it's not necessarily that they understand. It could be because they just don't understand to an extent that they don't even know what to ask out of this. So check that and make sure that you're really sure of what it could be, either this and that. So that's very important that you communicate clearly. Now, the second leg of communication is not only the clarity, but it's the consistency of communication. The consistency of communication. As much as you communicate clearly, but be consistent in your communication. Communicate with the people often, because the less often you communicate with people, the more they forget actually the process. And you find that they've started already a project, but in the middle of it, because there was no further communication or further instructions, they don't know what to do else. And that's the reason that we say your communication must be consistent. And therefore, the consistent communication should be in a way also that you have established a method of communication that is actually acceptable and reachable from other people. Accessible way. You can't communicate with emails if other people don't have email addresses. So therefore, you must actually establish a method that is common to many or common to all, so that you can actually be clear in your communication, but not only communicate clearly, but also consistently as well. And that is why you realize that there are some companies and groups of people that have formulated what we call WhatsApp groups. And in those WhatsApp groups, initially, I remember WhatsApp groups were not actually regarded official, particularly in corporate businesses. But at the moment, they're considered highly, because you want to communicate clearly, not only clearly, but consistently as well. And WhatsApp then becomes the most accessible method of communication, because everybody has got WhatsApp. And that makes it easier. Now, you cannot take it for granted and say, I'm going through emails, because it might be others don't have email addresses or don't have access to emails at all. So therefore, establish a system of communication that is common to all, and particularly so that you can actually communicate consistently, not only consistently, but clearly as well. And that makes a great and effective leader when you start to do that. And it's very important that we emphasize this, saints, because it's very powerful that you know that clarity of a message is actually facilitated also by the platform that you use and the consistency of it as well. I want to end up here today, your host, MIcornus Phokane. I'm the leader and the founder of the Young Men Empowerment Forum. Remember, we're developing ordinary young men into extraordinary men of wisdom integrity and character on this platform. And we do this through kingdom principles. This was part 2 of this great topic, speaking about the key principles of effective leadership. And we're going to deal with part 3 tomorrow. And I believe that you've learned out of this. You will continue learning. Before we check out today, we want to remind you of our social media platforms. The first one would be our Facebook page, Young Men Empowerment Forum. So please make sure that you follow us on Young Men Empowerment Forum. Click a like on that platform as well. And make sure that you follow us on my personal Facebook page, which is MIcornus Phokane as well. We posted these videos there as well, and that will be very useful for you. Don't forget also, we have got YouTube channel. It also falls under Young Men Empowerment Forum. It is called Young Men Empowerment Forum, the YouTube. So please subscribe to the YouTube channel and click like on it as well, and the notification button, so that every video that we post on this platform shall actually remind you that there's a video that we have posted. And the good Lord will bless you as you do that. Don't forget our TikTok account. It is under MIcornus Phokane, and our Instagram as well is under MIcornus Phokane. So please follow us on these platforms more. So please make sure that you share these platforms with your loved ones as well, your friends, your relatives. It could be your colleagues at work as well that needs to hear this, that you have heard. And until next time, again, as we deal with part 3, may the good Lord bless you and allow me to check out right here and say cheers for now.